Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mikey. You guys are rocking with me on Mike's Intellectual Corner. On today's episode, we're going to do a little cut-off video real quick. We're doing the Dirlewanger Brigade, Himmler's Convict Legion. This is a recommendation video. Let's go ahead and just get right into this one. Don't forget to check out my short series, and don't forget to come back on my next video where we're going to go ahead and continue our Napoleonic Wars series. Let's try and get into this one, guys.
You know a unit is bad news when the SS accuses it of lowering its reputation. Even among the many notorious units that existed within the SS empire, one in particular appears to have been the absolute epitome of evil, the Dirlewanger Brigade. It's named today as a byword for criminality and brutality, and the reputation is fully deserved. The unit's members were convicted criminals, mostly of the violent or sexual kind, a legion of sociopaths and psychopaths led by a violent sexual sadist who even the Nazis found difficult to stomach.
Now, real quick, just from doing my own research, so this is what I know anyway, that Dirlewanger he's a World War I vet. I believe he was a saw gunner or something like that for the Prussian army, and then he was awarded the first and second class Iron Cross. He was also convicted of the R word of a minor. I know this. I think while he was in the Nazi Party in the 20s, and they kicked him out for it, but they allowed him the ability to come back in. But he was, I'm pretty sure he was convicted again, but instead of letting him in or anything like that, or sending him in jail, they sent him to a concentration camp. But with his little inside connections, he was able to get outside of the camp and get into the military, essentially. But yeah, that's as much as I know, though. Let's go ahead and get into this, though, guys.
Who even the Nazis found difficult to stomach. The worst units of the SS were those generally associated with the concentration camps, where brutality and murder were normal activities, or those formations tasked with security and anti-partisan operations, or the mobile killing units that roamed the conquered territories, the Einsatzgruppen. The Dirlewanger Brigade would be similar to these organizations, except for one important difference. Its membership was not made up of troops or police who engaged in criminal activities, but rather by convicted criminals who now engaged in state-sponsored criminality under military command. It is strange that Himmler, so keen to build the SS into an elite within the German armed forces, should have permitted such a unit to have been created. It was actually formed in 1940, when the SS was only just beginning to field troops in battle, and was initially made up of criminals who had been convicted of poaching. Himmler realized the value of such woodsmen, and Hitler approved the plan to recruit such criminals into a special SS unit to be used to hunt partisans.
Yeah, because poachers are you know what I'm saying, you have to be pretty much a crack shot, because usually you only get one shot, if I'm not mistaken, and then you always have to be you have to be really quiet. So they're almost the elite, woodsmen or hunters or whatever. Alright, let's get back into it, though, guys.
SS unit to be used to hunt partisans. The rationale was that such men possessed very fine hunting skills, coupled with evident courage, as they had broken the law. So in 1940, the unit was formed as the Oranienburg Poachers Unit. Some Waffen-SS NCOs with bad disciplinary records were added to the unit, and by September 1940 it was 300 strong. Himmler chose the unit's commander himself, appointing Dr. Oskar Dirlewanger to the post. On the face of it, Dirlewanger seemed a conventional choice, a World War I infantryman who had risen through the ranks to become a lieutenant, being awarded the Iron Cross first and second class. A Freikorps member during the tumultuous early Weimar Republic era, he had gained a doctorate in political science in 1922. Dirlewanger had joined the Nazi Party in 1923. However, his apparently conventional exterior hid a deeply disturbing private life. A raging alcoholic, Dirlewanger was also a sexual sadist who in 1934 received a 2-year prison sentence for the statutory rape of a 13-year-old girl, not to mention for stealing government property. Expelled from the Nazi Party, he was later allowed to rejoin, even though he ended up in Welzheim concentration camp as an inmate after being arrested again for sexual assault. But Dirlewanger had powerful connections, not least his old World War I comrade Gottlob Berger, now the head of SS recruiting, and through Berger's close association with Himmler, Dirlewanger was released and sent to Spain, where he fought in the Condor Legion, Germany's contribution to putting fascist dictator General Franco into power in 1939.
Yeah, he's a lucky sick dude. Honestly, he's really lucky that he has friends that are just as evil as him, essentially, and that he was coming up in a time like this, because he would be pretty much dead in today's society. But yeah. Ugh.
General Franco into power in 1939. When Dirlewanger returned to Germany, he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Allgemeine SS, and in 1940 was given command of the poachers unit. The unit was expanded, and with only so many convicted poachers of the right age and fitness to be recruited, the unit began recruiting all sorts of convicts, including those listed as criminally insane. The German Army and Waffen-SS had a system of penal battalions for men convicted of offences against military law, but these men were usually returned to regular units after serving their sentences, as they had been deemed punished and rehabilitated. The Dirlewanger Brigade was different. It deliberately recruited men convicted of very serious crimes, such as murder, rape, and burglary. Its recruits being sociopaths, psychopaths, and deviants of every description, men who under normal circumstances would have been executed by the state or left to rot.
Yeah, Germany's pretty messed up for releasing this one to actual communities, like children, women. Like, that's pretty messed up, honestly, and I don't know, just really makes you think. Let's kind of keep it going, I guess.
Been executed by the state or left to rot in prison. The combination of such men being given arms and power was terrifying. The unit, renamed the Dirlewanger Brigade, was placed under the SS Totenkopfverbande, the branch responsible for concentration camps. It would be further strengthened by the addition of Russian and Ukrainian volunteers, and later by the attachment of a battalion of Turkestani, Azerbaijani, Uzbek and Tajik troops recruited from Central Asia. The Dirlewanger Brigade was not designed to fight enemy troops, rather it was an internal security force heavily involved in the Holocaust. Local SS commanders were often appalled by the unit's behavior. In Poland in 1940, the unit's sadism in the Lublin area generated complaints from the regional SS and police leader, leading to its transfer to Belarus. Under the cover of anti-partisan activities, the Dirlewanger Brigade continued a campaign of murder, rape, looting and destruction of property. The brigade killed around 30,000 civilians, resulting in an official SS investigation into the methods employed. Dirlewanger's speciality was herding large numbers of civilians into barns, which were then set alight, and the victims shot down as they attempted to escape. What made this different from other barbarous SS actions were the beatings, rapes, and corruption that accompanied Dirlewanger.
It kind of sounds like ain't no better than what was going on out in the further east with China and Japan and the Nanjing massacre and all that stuff. Yeah, let's get back into it though, guys. Crazy.
Rapes and corruption that accompanied Dirlewanger's atrocities, but given the makeup of the unit's troops, this was hardly surprising. In 1942, the unit continued to expand, as men convicted of the most serious crimes were sent to Dirlewanger, and by August 1943 the brigade had 3 battalions. Though designed for murderous activities against defenseless civilians, the brigade was called upon to fight the Soviets, and surprisingly given its recruits, actually performed fairly well in battle. Dirlewanger led from the front, but his unit suffered heavy casualties due to military ineptitude. Dirlewanger himself received the German Cross in gold, as well as the Close Combat Badge, and was wounded several times in action. Next up, the Dirlewanger...
Sounds like the only reason that they probably did good in the first place was the fact that they were just, a bunch of crazy criminals and stuff like that who probably used to using weapons and stuff and killing. But the fact that they were only killing defenseless people who were like children, women, old people, you know what I'm saying? So no wonder it showed, you know what I'm saying, their ineptitude, as he said. Let's kind of get back into it, I guess.
Next up, the Dirlewanger Brigade was used in Warsaw in 1944 to help crush the uprising against German rule. The brigade served alongside another unit of notorious criminality and brutality, SS Sturmbrigade Aro-NA, made up of renegade Russians. Both units were permitted to do as they liked to the Poles. In one appalling incident, Dirlewanger ordered the killing of 500 children in a daycare facility, and in order to save bullets, ordered his men to beat and bayonet the children to death, just a small part of the 40,000 Poles the unit murdered in a 2-week orgy of terror.
See, this is beyond war right here. This is honestly just sick, you know what I'm saying? This is what we deemed civilized men at the time. Remember this. This was being civilized. In a time of colonization, this was civilized. Let's kind of keep it going, guys.
Unit murdered in a 2-week orgy of terror. Dirlewanger was given the Knight's Cross and promoted to Oberführer, or senior colonel. The brigade continued to expand, reaching 4,000 men in December 1944. Shortly before, it was employed crushing the Slovak national uprising in late 1944, and then went to the front in Hungary, suffering heavy casualties again in combat. With the war entering its final phase, the Dirlewanger Brigade was used to fight on the Oder-Neisse line and changed its name to the 36th Waffen-SS Division of 4,000 men in February 1945. On the 16th of April 1945, the division was struck by the Soviet offensive, and on the 17th, Dirlewanger was wounded for the 12th time in combat. Dirlewanger's association with the division ended at this point, and the unit began to disintegrate with mass desertions. The commander of one grenadier regiment was even hanged by his own men.
I bet. I mean, think about it. These are all freaking criminals. I mean, if I was in charge of them, I would probably be watching my back 24/7 too. But that's a little ridiculous that they would still be out there, you know what I'm saying?
Hanged by his own men. Trapped in the Halbe pocket, what remained of the Dirlewanger division was largely wiped out, except the headquarters element, which managed to surrender to the Americans at the Elbe River on the 3rd of May 1945. About 700 members of the Dirlewanger Brigade survived the war. A few faced prosecution for war crimes. Most did not. As for Oskar Dirlewanger, he was captured by French forces in June 1945 while hiding out in the mountains. He died in mysterious circumstances on the 8th of June at Altshausen in southern Germany, supposedly beaten to death by Polish soldiers. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.
Alright guys, we'll go ahead and end it right there. Yeah, in my opinion, I think all of them should have been convicted. All freaking 4,000 of them. That was ridiculous. They all participated, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I digress. I'm not even going to get into it like that, because, yeah. But guys, I do want to thank you again for joining me on another episode of Mike's Intellectual Corner. I do thank you again for the recommendations, guys. Please try to keep them coming in, because, like I said, there's a lot of them, so it's hard to keep up with most of them, to be honest with you. So just try to, bombard me. I don't care. Check out my Today in History Shorts series. I try to make it as good as possible. With that being said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you again. Don't forget to join me on my next episode for Napoleonic Wars series. I'll see you when I see you.